Hello, beautiful people. I'm Ashley Michaud, the founder of Elemental Growth. It's a little introduction as to who I am. I began my journey in a pretty dark place, both with family, lifestyle, and I was working in the hospitality and tourism industry. I was seeking change inspired by the greats. And I really just started taking responsibility for my own health and lifestyle. Eventually, that turned into legacy as well. So I started a small online challenge, and that was in 2017. My first group was a spring clean challenge, and it's really beautiful to see people come together, see people taking their life into their own hands and taking their power back and taking responsibility for their lives. So since this is week 4 of our challenge, I've brought in a special guest. This is Sheila, who actually went to school with me at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. She is a lovely soul and very inspiring to me because she actually started in health coaching way before it became what it is now, before it was even a certified program. She knew that there was something to that. She started her business around the same time that my nutrition school actually started, around 1992. And her life is also outside of the norm. She homeschools her kids that are now teenagers. Her and her husband have a fantastic relationship where they work together, live together, and help other people. And I always found this really inspiring, and talking with her so inspiring that I wanted to share her with you now too.
Great. All right. So thanks so much for having me, Ashley. And I'm really excited for whoever is listening who is wanting to take a closer look at their own personal health and wellness and dealing with overwhelm and burnout or wherever they may be at. Or maybe they're feeling fantastic and they just want to get that little boost so that they can stay feeling great for many years to come. I know that was my plan many years ago. I am an integrative nutrition health coach, and my passion is to uplift women to use their voices to reclaim their health using self-care. And specifically cyclical self-care, looking at their body as being it, because they're women, we have a different, very definite cyclical nature that is different from the cyclical nature of men. Just eating enough fruits and vegetables, well, frankly, it's just not possible to eat enough fruits and vegetables to counterbalance the very toxic world we live in. And I thought at the time, I just had my skin conditions and I had a little bit of energy lulls. But when I started to treat myself better with the food I was eating, I realized food really is medicine. And what we feed our minds really is medicine as well. And it's all combined. And when we really focus on doing those good things, so many good things can happen.
With all of that, what really what got you about self-care? What encouraged you to become an advocate in that one specific thing?
Well, yeah, and it's a tough one because I feel like, you know, a lot of women have picked up this mantle of having to do all of the things and be the caregiver. And I'm so grateful. My husband's very involved in, you know, caring for our home, our kids, and his extended family as well. That's just the person I ended up with. And I don't think it was by accident. So we care for each other, which is beautiful. And I see many women, typically that's not the typical experience. Even if they have a really great spouse and their family is healthy and wonderful, often women take on even more responsibility. The emotional needs of the kids, very often thinking ahead to all of the special things that, you know, the doctor's appointments and the conditions they're trying to prevent their kids from having, thinking about all of their meals and planning. And, you know, so you compare some people's days, and often women at the end of the day are just, they're running from the beginning to the end. And I don't believe it has to be that way. I believe that in order for us to really be efficient and healthy in the process, we need as women to take that time for ourselves to say, you know what, I'm just going to set aside those items that I think everything needs to be done now, set it aside, and instead take some time to look inward, take some time to put my feet up and do something that nourishes me, whether it be a hobby, whether it be, just getting out with your friends, making space for that. Whether your job is really busy or your family is really busy, you've got to make yourself part of that equation. And we realized, okay, maybe we need to kind of change the channel on this, and it's okay. We don't have to be the good girl and do everything for everyone all the time. We can say no. If we just are not feeling that we're able to do something, we can adjust our schedule and we can invest in quality time just for ourselves alone. It is okay. So that was really what got me started in self-care. I really believe that you can see two people who are living a pretty similar lifestyle, but their attitude about it, if one has a spiritual practice, who is making space for themselves, their attitude towards the stressors in their life can be different than someone who doesn't have those things, who's walking through life with anxiety. And I'm really happy that this discussion is being had around the world about mental health and anxiety, and that, yeah, it's common. A lot of women experience it. They do self-care for sure. Because you think about, let's just take a new mom, for example. So you have a year off, you're home with your child. What do you have to be stressed about? Well, the hormonal shifts happening in your body, they do a number on you depending on who you are and depending on what your birth experience is, and whether you had a home birth, a hospital birth, whether you used anesthetic, whether you had a C-section. All of these things contribute to this cascade of hormones that are unleashed in your body. And so oftentimes, even in the healthiest of deliveries, someone can experience postpartum depression and anxiety. Actually, postpartum anxiety seems to be on the rise. And I think part of it is, especially now, my opinion, in this very technologically connected world, we are seeing images all over social media about, oh, the baby's room needs to look like this, and I need my baby styled every day so I can take the daily image to say, look how my baby is growing. And the comparison of, whoa, they look so happy and shiny. Why am I feeling exhausted? Well, you've been up all night nursing because the baby's having a growth spurt and won't stop feeding. And that's totally normal, by the way. So you need to create space for yourself. So there's all of these things that are like impeding our minds and our bodies in even just something as simple as comparing what we are seeing out there. And then there's just combine that with a very real cascade of hormones shifting in your body after you've had baby. That's going to affect things. And then if that goes untreated, if it's not accepted as something that's really going on and real for you, if someone is saying to you, well, what? You're just at home with the baby all day. It's not like you're going to work. Well, that's one thing, but people don't know what other people's finances are. So you're not working. You may be able to be away from your job, but how are your finances, and how are you feeling guilty about the fact that you're not out there earning an income specifically? There's all of these mental things going on for us, and we need to have a lot of grace on ourselves, and therefore we can hopefully have some grace on each other.
So, Sheila, what are some other good ways that we can guide people today to reduce their stress and anxiety?
Well, I love what you just said, the journaling. It really is a nice segue into, I have, there's actually a download that viewers can get called Simplify Your Wellness Plan with 3 simple steps. And it's simple because it has to be. There's too many voices out there, right? And I like to say that we all know the healthy things we need to be doing. We know we need to be getting 7 to 8 hours. We know we need to be drinking all the water. We know we need to be trying to eat organic wherever possible. We know blah, blah, blah. We know all these things, but doing them, that's the thing. And that's what everyone kind of mirrors back to me. It's like, yeah, I know. If only I could do it. And I think it seems like this big, huge task, but we find space for everything else in our life. And so what I invite women to do is, when they go through this guide, it's just going to simply walk them through a few little check boxes and things just to get their mind juices flowing, their ideas. First is to assess, where are you at right now? Are you happy? Are you satisfied with how you're feeling physically? Do you feel like you have energy? Do you feel like you have enough time for yourself? So assessing is the first step. And then from there, you're able to say, okay, well, out of how I'm seeing, like, which part of my life needs some care? Are my relationships just, I'm not getting enough time one-on-one with my loved ones? Am I never, ever, ever going on a date with my husband because we have kids now? And, oh, that, I just don't have time. Oh boy, please go on a date. Are we, am I working too much? Or am I not getting validated at work for the work that I am doing? Do I need to maybe shift my role within my job, or do I need to look for a different career? Do I have a business idea within me that I just really want to act on, but I'm so afraid to? There's all of these different things that you can assess and say, what is the next step to help you address the way you're actually feeling right now? And it can be something as simple as, I just need to move my body more. And so I'm going to, after dinner every night, take a 15-minute walk around the block. There you go. One simple thing you can do. And I'm telling you, oh, it's so beautiful for your mind, right? And once you do one thing and you see the benefit from it, you can keep going and you can then pick another thing. And so it doesn't have to be this big, massive task. But if, say, once a month you pick one thing you want to improve upon, like drink more water, by the end of the year, if you were doing one thing a month, that's 12 new things you're doing. And what's happening is you're taking something new and putting it in your life, and maybe there's not enough space for some of those other more destructive habits that we have. So you're like eating better food, right? Crowds out the bad food. Doing better things crowds out those things that are just time wasters. Maybe you need to have better boundaries around your tech time, and, actually setting a timer when you're going to go onto social media, or having a specific time of day that's your least productive time, where you connect in with people in your direct message and say, okay, I just want to check in on you. And, oh, I saw your baby pictures. They were great. That having those little boundaries will help you save so much time. And then from there, the very important thing also is I have people look at their cyclical energy and where they're at in the phases of the menstrual cycle. And, I know there may be some men listening to this too. And I'm like, hey, don't tune out, because if there are any women in your life, you need to know this stuff. Okay. So I'm going to tell you just quickly four phases of the menstrual cycle. I'll start with the first one being the one that pretty much everyone knows, and that's the menstrual phase, and that's the bleeding phase of your cycle, 3 to 5 days, sometimes 7, it depends on the woman. The next phase is your follicular phase, and that's where you have a lot more energy, you have a lot of ideas, and so it's a great time to start things, and it's a great time to maybe start a new habit, so that time of the month could be when you start a new habit. Your next phase is ovulation, where that is, if you're looking to have babies, that's the time to get busy. And that is our most outward time, our most magnetic time, the time where we really connect well with people and we're able to take action on a lot of new things and maybe make some serious headway with a new habit. And then the last phase is actually 10 plus days, depending on your cycle, and it's your luteal phase. And that's the time where you're kind of wrapping things up. Your body is going through the phase where it's wanting to make sure it's releasing estrogen, getting ready for your body to go back into the bleeding phase. And so it's a time where you're going to feel more tired, more inward. It's a great time to journal. It's a great time to really see, well, how is this habit going? Is it serving me? What do I need? And it's a great time for you to be able to assess, how did this month go? And then by the time you're in the bleeding phase again, that is a time to be able to really go deep, because it's a time of when you should be resting more. And so I say, from an energetic standpoint, you can, eat a certain way for each phase of your cycle. You can exercise a certain way, and you can spend time and socialize with your family and friends a certain way at each time, each month. So you can schedule your life around that, which helps you make better choices for you depending on where you're at. And so I say, for the men in the crowd, when you know this, and you want to show an interest in your lady and her physical symptoms that she's going through, it's not even symptoms really, it's just her physical being, that it is affecting her mind and everything. It's beautiful because she's very predictable. And you can help support her by asking, hey, what do you need? What do you need? Right? And then I'm so grateful I have a husband who does ask me that. And we've been married 23 years. Still, he's like, no, I got this. I'm doing this. And I get into my head, no, I need to do everything. He goes, no, I said I'd do it. I'm like, so for the women in the crowd, I just got to say, accept the help, ask for it, get very good at asking for help and really good at accepting it. If we can do that, that's going to help everything in our life.
So Sheila, do you have any like stories from clients that you've guided through in this kind of way? Is there something that you can share? It's always better to hear stories because they're really relatable and there's a lot to learn in there.
Absolutely. I've got so many. I'm going to try and pick a few over the years, just of people getting this reconnection to themselves. And, one woman, Sunny, had some autoimmune issues and had been trying all of these different medical protocols and having surgeries and just doing so many different things and was just feeling exhausted. And she realized she really needed to just stop everything for a time and really check in with herself. And as we talked, she got the permission to really sit and reflect on what is it in her life that is creating the stress within her, that is causing this cascade of events in her health. And she did realize there were some habits that were not serving her well, like smoking was one of them, because she was very stressed, so she would reach to that. And then if she stopped smoking, then she would want to go and just eat some more and then eat not good things. So it would all like compound. So we got to the bottom of things, at least for the time being, we thought, and it seemed to work really well, which was, what is it that is, why are you feeling stressed? Why do you feel that you need to reach for these stimulants? And part of it was the environment she had grown up in. It was what she had learned. So disconnecting from that was definitely a challenge. It's an ongoing thing, I will say. Someone who quits, like, it takes a long time for it to really inhabit your being. But she was so committed to it that she took the space to do that. And she also realized that part of it was she just couldn't be with herself and sit still. So she needed to always be doing something with her hands. So eating or smoking, like, it was just, they came together, right? So what she started to do was pick up a pen and write her feelings. And actually, it's something as simple as journaling on a regular basis really helped her. And on those times where she felt like, oh, I'm just feeling like I'm not, my mind is having trouble focusing at work and I just can't get past this craving, she would have a big glass of water and go for a walk. And if she could, she'd grab a friend with her to kind of keep her accountable to not, picking a cigarette up. And she would walk through it. And after a few minutes in the fresh air, the craving had passed. So she was very committed to it. And I think this is the thing, she had to make that decision. And so once she did those things, she realized the more she wrote her feelings, the more she got in touch with why she made the choices that she made. She wanted the stimulants less and less. She was feeling more energetic. She was feeling better about herself. She actually got a promotion at work because she was feeling more clear-headed. Her work was better. And so as a result, then her income grew and her experiences doing fun things with her family. Instead of spending money on those stimulants, she was spending money on traveling with her family, and they were getting out and doing these things. So I'm like, wow. And it's just because of one decision to just say, okay, I need to just reassess and stop just looking for another pill, another cure, another thing. The decision had to be made from within. And actually today on my social media and on my blog today was all about decisions and habits. And, every good habits does start with a decision. So that's one story.
For anyone who's listening and feeling overwhelmed, maybe a little bit confused about where they're going and where they want to be, like I've been there, I still go there, and, it all happens in layers. It's not the same thing that's getting me now as it did before, but, there's still things that come up. So in general, like, where is a good place to just start with reducing stress and anxiety?
Well, I really would direct the people viewing to do the download, go get the download of the little guide. It's like a 3-page guide of little things that you can do, make some decisions for yourself. And really, like I'm saying, make that time sacred that you're going to go through it. Mark it on your calendar, tell the kids, go away, just go do your own thing. That's what I always say to my kids. They know I love them so much. But I hear them saying it to me like, Mom, you can do your own thing now. Because I say, okay, go do your own thing. And we all need that time. Take the time, make it precious, and really check in with how you're doing. And I mean, turn off the cell phone, right? Like, don't compare. Do that time for yourself. And that will really be a good start. And I know that people can be in touch with you for health coaching and all of that. And I do a lot of online programs, and I do some one-on-one discovery calls as well. But my programs are really focused on the self-care element and the hormonal health element. So if that's something that your audience is having some issues with that they want to restore, I have a whole protocol that I put into a program form that opens a few times a year. And so they can get information about that as well.
Perfect. So how can they find you?
So they can find me at SheilaBotelho.com, and that's SheilaBotelho.com, and I'm sure we'll grab a link below. I'm on Instagram at Sheila A. Botelho, but really the website's probably the best place to go.
Okay, that is so great. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to add in before we close up here?
Well, I just want to say I love the space that you've created, Ashley, for people. It's a beautiful space, and it is so, when I think of you, I feel like just such a connection to the earth, to the seasons, to what our bodies are designed from. And I think you bring a really beautiful perspective into the wellness sphere. So people are really fortunate to have this space to come.
That means so much coming from you, especially. And yeah, thank you. Let's sign off for now. I'll see you guys soon. Love you. Bye.